Hi, and welcome to the Tali Loz podcast, where we discover spirituality together. And Jeff is back to tell us about the energies of Sagittarius season. Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Hi, Laura. Happy to see you again
Happy
and
to
talk
see.
about Sagittarius season.
Yay! I'm a Sagittarius. People probably already know, but yes, I do have then some Sagittarius. I know I'm a blend, depending on all the other planets as well, and the moon, and a lot of different energies. But yeah, my sun sign is a Sagittarius, so I'm
I have a
actually quite
bunch
curious.
of planets in Sagittarius as well.
Oh, yeah. So
I
you,
love this energy. I just love this energy. It's so, bountiful and optimistic and joyful and expansive.
wow,
It's just very cool.
it's very cool. Yeah, we just came from the deep energy of Scorpio. So this will be a bit more like a type of moment.
Exactly. We were moving downwards, and now we're out in
Out.
out of the darkness. Because also, when you look at the symbol of Sagittarius, is a centaur, right? It's half horse, half human, and it always has an arrow, and this arrow is pointing up.
Yes.
So
Upwards
exactly.
energy.
Exactly. It's upwards energy, so that we would, after the transformation that we were going through, now we're able to actually like breathe out and come out and have some joy and have some expansion and have this newly renewed season.
Wow, I'm really looking forward to it actually. Not because of my birthday party, but just in general. And so what are the healthy expressions actually of Sagittarius?
Well, some of them I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, people with the strong Sagittarius energy, they are very enthusiastic, they are optimists, they have joy, they love, they have a lot of sense of humor, they love a very good joke, and they typically don't dwell on adversities for a long time. Okay, obviously life is happening and sometimes we're down or something, comes our way. Sagittarians are not the ones to dwell on things. They would come, I don't know, after maybe 2 or 3 days of thinking about something or, being down if needed as well. But then afterwards, they would be like, okay, fine. Now is the new day. What can I do today?
Yes. Sounds very familiar actually.
Here we go. So that's great. And of course, people love having these people around because they are not only optimistic for themselves, they're also spreading this energy around them. So it's almost like a continuous party energy.
Yes, oh, definitely. And how about like traveling? Because that is in my head as well, a Sagittarius thing, like a healthy expression of the Sagittarius. Is that right?
Yes, of course, healthy expressions are depending on whether you are doing it in the balanced way or in an excess way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because let me start from the beginning. Sagittarius is all about higher learning, it's about higher knowledge, it's about expansion, because this energy, it wants to expand the horizons, it wants to learn different, value systems, belief systems, philosophies, religions, to see other cultures, to learn other languages, to see how people in different countries live, work, think, survive, and so on. So it's really about the expansion of the world view, about understanding how this universe works, pretty much. And of course, what comes along with this is distant traveling. Typically, those people who have a very strong Sagittarian energy, they would have traveled far. It's
Yes.
not about I've been to the next village. It's typically these people would be like, yeah, I've been to Australia, I've been to, I don't know, China, Japan, to South Africa, to South America, to all those places.
Wow. Yes. Yeah, that's very true actually. And how about um sort of the perhaps individuality, a little bit weird, a little bit authentic, a little bit crazy. Is that also a Sagittarius thing?
It's not about craziness, no, because let's say being different, it's a side of Aquarius. Aquarius wants to be different. It wants to be a rebel. It wants to be together with everybody, but also apart from everybody. It's an interesting paradox. But when we speak about Sagittarius, Sagittarius wants to attain the truth. It always is on the go, in continuous search for truth. What is the truth for me? Do I find truth in a specific religion? Do I find truth in a specific philosophy? What is truth? What is not? What is true for you, or what is true for me? So a lot of those questions are coming up. And also that comes to the point of authenticity. What is authentic? How can I show up authentically for me? Am I safe to show up authentically? And whether other people in my life are showing up authentically. Are they not faking anything? Are they not wearing masks or anything? So that is a very interesting energy, and it's joyful. As I said, it's very uplifting. And typically these people have a very philosophic outlook on life. When you can hear them speak, you will always kind of catch the big picture view.
Yes, like a bit further than the little circle around oneself, basically.
Totally. Yeah. It's the world view, because obviously especially if they have traveled far and wide, if they have been reading a lot of different, sources and maybe philosophies, maybe religions, they have a very expanded view. But then on top of that, what I also need to mention is that a very healthy and very strong side of Sagittarius energy is intuition, is being really connected to their intuition. And the intuition is the cosmic phone, right? It's not necessarily what we have learned or read or heard. It's what we felt through our connection with the divine.
Previous episode, you mentioning about Pluto being sort of like a generation planet into Scorpio, was sort of my generation. How about Sagittarius?
Sure, that's the next generation after Pluto, and that would be people born between 1995 and 2008.
Okay, so it's sort of like what we see as a Gen Z generation, isn't it?
Yeah,
so that
could be very similar.
Could be very similar. It's roughly. I think that also sounds a bit like them. I think they are a bit more expanded than we were. They're even more open-minded than we were, I think. If I look at the young ones, speak to them, they're a bit more spiritual as well. Like, well, not more open, I have to say. They're a bit more free to talk about spirituality, free to talk about the spirit, about crystals and that kind of stuff. For us, it was there. But it's only in the last few years that we're openly speaking about it. And I feel like that generation from 95 after just talks about it like hot chocolate, basically.
yeah. I would agree. I can see that in my, let's say, younger clients as well, or people that I met while I was traveling. And yeah, first of all, they are, as we were just talking, they have this philosophical view of life. They want to expand horizons, so they don't take anything as granted, and they don't take anything as an authority. They just want to expand what they know, right? And then, of course, filter what is their truth, what is not, but they are open to everything. And on top of that, we can see them traveling non-stop. Whenever it's possible.
Yes, yeah. Apart from obviously the restrictions, they're definitely a traveling generation as well, 100%. And yes, so with your guidance again, we collected crystals for Sagittarius energy. And if I think of what you just said, I think one of my favorite, well, the birthstone is topaz, blue topaz. We have a Tali Loz, and it's very much for clarity. It's very much for peace, because Sagittarius can also be a little bit all over the place, which we'll talk about later. But also a fortune and abundance mindset. And then obviously it has the traveler's stone, which is labradorite. It's the best stone for travelers. It protects them. It helps them to stay on their path. And I think that's definitely for my favorite crystals as well. They're very beautiful. And then also, I think for the healthy expressions, what would be really good is the sodalite. Because sodalite is very good for mindfulness, for self-expression, but also public speaking and be out there and philosophical thinking and higher thinking. And the last one I would say is K2, which comes from the K2 mountain. It's a very interesting crystal. It's white with sort of gray black dots, and it has blue dots on it as well. They look like painted, but they're not. It's natural like that. It's one of the strongest crown chakra crystals. So it's very much connected to higher consciousness, connecting to the divine. Like you said, it's going up there a bit more. Philosophical mind and intellectual curiosity. So I think they're beautiful crystals that we've chosen for Sagittarius energies as well.
Amazing. I feel like I need this traveler stone because I definitely have a traveler bag in myself as well.
Definitely, you've been sort of everywhere, especially in the last few months, haven't you? Definitely. Yeah, and I think if you have Sagittarius energy around you, labradorite is anyway very good to have. Yeah, 100%.
Very cool. Very cool.
How about the unhealthy expressions of Sagittarius? What should we be more aware of that could come our way, but maybe we can sort of try to manage it up front?
Correct. And just to repeat the dates as well, the Sagittarius season is between 21st to 2nd of November to 21st, 22nd of December. Okay. And so it affects all of us, whether we have Sagittarius energy or not. We're in the season, so we get to taste it anyway, right? And so what can be coming our way is, first of all, this energy can be a little bit over enthusiastic and also exaggerating things. Okay, so let's keep in mind that we might take more than we can chew, promise something that we cannot deliver, or maybe plan too many things at once, or even take too many travels at once. So that can happen for sure.
Oh yeah, it actually sounds like my whole life, that one, but yes, yeah.
Now you're prepared for your whole life again. Then when we talk about Sagittarius energy, there can be some people experience blocks to intuition. Okay, and let me speak about intuition a little bit. Some people think that they don't have intuition at all, like they're just saying, oh, I'm not intuitive, right? And there is definitely some kind of misconception in our society because it's just a lack of information. We all have intuition, every single one of us. We are born and we have it. There is no, you have it, I don't, or I have it, you don't. We all have this. But obviously, in the way our society operates, we are pushed to use our logical abilities much more than intuitive abilities, right? So from the very childhood years into the, kindergarten, school, university, companies, working, all of it, it requires us to train our logic muscle. And the more we are training, or I would even say overtraining that muscle, the less we are looking into the intuition. And I would say by, let's say, don't know for sure, but maybe around the years, when we're 20, in our 20s, we tend to kill our intuition. All right. Before that, it's still speaking to us, and we're like, maybe I listen to it, maybe I don't. But then starting with the 20s, that's it. This is where we're killing it. And then, of course, we tend to go through different, events in life. And after 30s, we're already in the middle of the whole thing called real life, understanding that it's not only the external world, there is also internal world. And this is where we start looking into where was this intuition under which crumbles, right? So intuition is something that can be blocked or wounded, but it can be restored. If we work with this, if we develop it again, if we start listening to it and following it, even in the smallest matters, even in the smallest details, like feeling into what kind of breakfast I want to have, right? Or what kind of I don't know, place I want to visit. Not thinking about it, overthinking about it, but feeling into it. The more we can do it, the more we can train it. Okay. So that's another part. Then, as we were talking about travels, in the unhealthy energies of Sagittarius, this traveling piece can be taken overboard really too far, when people literally feel like homeless, restless nomads.
Okay, yes. I'm not that bad, but okay, yeah.
Yeah, just to know, when we know it's already half of the success, I would say. And no, just to understand why certain things are working this way, right? So when people find themselves not having a proper home, living always on the suitcases, not being able to build relationships because they're always on the run or on the go, this is the question to start asking. Why am I running all around? What am I running from? Am I trying to, again, be over enthusiastic, be exaggerating, and to kind of run away from myself and have this party mindset, joyful, enthusiastic, and looking for adventure? Am I running away from something? Okay, so this is, again, coming back to truth and radical authenticity within oneself.
Yes, okay. And yeah, for those, if I listen to it, we have great crystals as well that we've chose for that, haven't we? Like obsidian, I mean, it's grounding. And I think that's definitely what a Sagittarius needs to balance out the unhealthy expressions, as well as protection. Just protect themselves, but also from, doing everything overly, protect themselves not to overstep their own boundaries as well. And what you were saying about intuition, we've got clear quartz. It's a master healer anyway, but it helps to develop the intuition. I think clear quartz is a must-have for everyone. Smoky quartz, you were saying about feeling like a nomad, going everywhere. A smoky quartz is actually also really grounding, balancing, but also connected to Mother Earth. So it's almost like helping to not move around too much, to stay somewhere where you do have like a basis. And from that basis, you can go here and there.
Really nice. Really nice. Yeah.
I think they sound like good crystals for the Sagittarius season, actually. So how about the idea that some people think the Sagittarius energy is also stubborn, and maybe they always want to be right, and they maybe don't want to listen to other people. Is that true?
Partially, yes. It's not so much a stubbornness, because stubbornness is a characteristic of a Taurus, okay? Because it's persistent and stubborn and very much like a bull. Sagittarius, whereas this energy is righteous. Because they are so much connected with the intuition, they might know things without knowing where they know them from.
Okay, yes.
And so there may be a lot of this righteousness, like you were, I think in the last podcast, you were mentioning that there is a kid who is asking the questions why, but then already saying, I already knew that before, right? So look for some Sagittarius energies. These are the people who are like, I already know the answers. I already know how it works. I already know that my religion is the right one, or my beliefs are the right ones. And it can be a little bit like a black and white if the consciousness of a person is not expanded. This is unfortunately where the religion's wars are coming from. Okay, so my religion is the right one, all the rest are the wrong ones. And this is, of course, where we need to stretch ourselves. This is where we need to grow in our consciousness, understanding the duality of this world. Understanding that what is true for me is not necessarily true for you, and vice versa.
Yeah, and just accept that is a possibility, and it will give everyone peace as well. Just accept other people have different views on the world.
Totally.
And what are the moons going to do this month or this season?
Yeah, we have another piece of an eclipse. So the first one was during the Scorpio season, the eclipse in Taurus, the lunar eclipse. And in Sagittarius, we have, in Sagittarius season, we have the new moon, obviously in Sagittarius, 12 degrees. It is happening on December 4th, and it is a total solar eclipse. So it has much more, you know, if the lunar eclipse is more our internal changes and transformation, solar eclipse is more about external, what is changing on the outside. Okay, and so that's another turning point and an opening for the next 6 months. Okay. And so, as we were talking about the Sagittarius, the themes are the growth, expansion, wisdom, philosophy, beliefs, intuition, truth, authenticity, joy. So all of these nice, wonderful topics. Okay. And interestingly, I can see that the sun and the moon are conjunct Mercury during this new moon. So again, it's all about thinking abilities, how we process information, how we approach this information, what do we kind of drop and what we keep. And the south node in Sagittarius and north node in Gemini will have reached 0 degrees by then. Okay, so that's the final degree, that's the graduation kind of energy, the mastery energy. And the Saturn in Aquarius will be sextiling the Sun and Moon. So there is definitely a long-term support for stability, for discipline, giving some strength to go forward and also go higher into the future. Okay, so it basically taking responsibility for how we show up in the next 6 months. How do we work with those with this new information? How have we changed our beliefs? How have we changed our patterns in terms of being righteous or not, being authentic or not? Expanding our worldview and not blindly trusting what, for example, media is giving us. So all of these interesting topics. And on top of that, I can see the square to Neptune in Pisces, which will push us out of an illusion or any delusions that we have. Maybe also the victim roles or consciousness, the absence of boundaries, any helplessness. So getting out of this, lower frequency energies and going higher into more joy, more wisdom, more truth. All right. So I can definitely see with, some are, again, as typically it's a mixed bag, with some aspects being very supportive and smooth, some aspects generating a little bit of tension so that we would, grow, we would step out of the comfort zones. But overall, I can see a lot of growth there, a lot of expansion, and push into doing things differently. Because also there is a continuous theme during this year overall where the Saturn is squaring Uranus. And so the square is exact 3 times during this year. Once it was in February, the second time was in June, and the third one will be end of December. So during this new moon, the square is already again coming closer. Okay, and that is an all year theme, which is breaking the old and choosing the new.
So is it still also a bit of the transformation energy that we had in the previous season as well? Is that sort of continuing?
It's a little bit, I would say yes, but it's a little bit different transformations, right? Because Scorpio season, it's all about our personal transformation, okay? Mm-hmm. What do we feel? How do we feel? What kind of, deep-seated fears do we have? Insecurities? How do we face them? How do we work with the dark energies? And so on and so forth. The Saturn, Uranus, they are not personal planets. They are the outer planets, okay? So they are having a bigger impact on us as a collective.
Okay.
And collective, of course, with the whole, pandemics, we can see this is the overall bigger theme that we are the old is crumbling and the new is emerging. So how do we change the society? How we're changing our values? How we're letting go of the past hierarchies, past structures, past, I don't know, governments, authorities, and all these questions, right? And of course, we can see a lot of protests in the world, a lot of energy which is trying to break through those outdated, very rigid systems.
Okay. So it's still, yeah, it's very different. It sounds very different anyway. It's different level.
Correct.
And do you feel maybe it's a really good time to work on your higher chakras, to work on, see if you can go deeper into that meditation and to connect more to the divine? Do you think it's the right time for that as well? That it's a bit more upward energy in that case?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, this is always the right time to to connect with the with the intuition and with the power or force which is bigger than us. But the Sagittarius energy can bring us more into this philosophic state.
Yes. So yeah, it's still like deeper thinking compared to with Scorpio, it was more deeper feeling.
Yeah,
Well.
we can also say that Sagittarius is a more expansive.
More
thinking,
expansive,
right?
yeah.
It's not so much into the depth. It's we were in the depth. Now we're out in the open and we're in the white.
In the white, yes. So that's what it is. Yeah, I see. It's just deep in thinking, but wider. Deep but wide thinking. Huh? Full moon on December 19th in Gemini. Is that right? What is that going to bring?
So the full moon, correct, in Gemini in 27 degrees. It's the closing full moon of the year, and it's almost like a final illumination of those themes that we were working on, because the South Node and North Node are still in the 0 degrees. We're still graduating, almost there before this axis will shift into the next one, which is Scorpio Taurus, which will be an interesting 1.5 years into the future.
Oh.
So we are, we can talk about it another time, because it's it's a topic in itself.
Okay, but yeah, definitely. We can always make it a podcast. Why not?
Perfect. So speaking about the South Node in Sagittarius and North Node in Gemini, that's the final illumination about, again, letting go of old beliefs, philosophies, convictions, values, letting in new information and changing the way we think, speak, communicate, and learn. All right. So where can we allow more mindfulness? Where can we be more open to new information, to maybe alternative sources, or what our society thinks is alternative? So really being more open and more expansive, right? So and also, happily and luckily, Sagittarius season is exactly about that, to become more open, to become more expansive. But of course, it doesn't come without a little bit of internal struggle, right? So I can see the T-square there involved between the Sun in Sagittarius, Moon in Gemini, and Neptune in Pisces. That is the tension between the logic and intuition. Oh. What do I trust? Which source of information I prefer? Do I prefer, can I trust my intuition? Can I trust my higher guidance, even though I haven't been using it for many years? Or will I rather let my logic to lead me astray just because I blindly believe whatever society tells me? So a little bit between those lines, right? Okay. So again, where are the illusions, where are lies even involved? Because Neptune in Pisces, it's also quite a long time that we, especially right now, we don't even know what to believe anymore, right? What is working, what is not working, what is true, what is not true, all those vaccine stories, all these COVID stories, where did it come from? We don't know. There is a lot of fog there. And so this speaks to this aspect. What do we trust? Who do we trust? Do we trust somebody? Do we trust ourselves? Do we trust our guidance within us that says what to do, what not to do? Travel, not travel, vaccinate, not vaccinate. So all of those I mean, these are just examples, right? Obviously, there are much more life choices that we have, but these are just the screaming examples that we can observe every day. And the Uranus-Saturn square becoming closer, that's already 1 degree apart. So again, the old is crumbling, the new is emerging, and this process is not always comfortable, but we have to collectively go through it. Yeah. At the same time, we have a supportive aspect to Jupiter in Aquarius, and that is the growth and expansion and confidence. And also Aquarius is about the, let's say, groups and support and the groups and humanity and future. It's really, we are almost pushed to choose what is better, what is good for humanity, right? But it's, of course, it's challenging the way we think, challenges the old mental structures, any old barriers, even our neural pathways, right? Because what happens is that, you know, our neural pathways, they are formed when we're little. And then if we are not working on ourselves in a very conscious way, they just work on automatic. They just keep repeating the same thing that we learned when we were 7. And so, of course, we need to, in many cases, why is it so hard to change ourselves? Because our neural pathways, they are already set in a very specific structure, so to say. So it takes a lot of time to untangle it and to practice new ways, doing different ways, thinking differently, and so on. But it's possible. This is good news. It's possible.
It's possible. Yeah, definitely. If you set your mind to it, then you will be able to change.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And that nicely leads me to the next aspect of this full moon, is that Mercury in Capricorn, it will already be in Capricorn, it trines Uranus and Taurus. As I mentioned, Uranus is everywhere, involved in every single new and full moon until the end of the year. And this is definitely some flashes of insight. This is about deep realizations. It's almost like a thunderstorm or like a flashlight, you know, to see how we're changing our thinking, our communication, especially since the beginning of COVID, right? It's we're constantly choosing, even though it doesn't feel like it. If we look back 1.5 years, we can literally see how much more mindful people become, how much more they are challenging and questioning what do they need, what they don't need, how they speak to each other, how they can choose the words more mindfully, what does it mean to hurt with the words or to heal with the words.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I think that I definitely see that back. Yes. Here
we go. That's our Sagittarius.
Yeah, I feel this is quite. I'm actually looking forward to this. I feel like it's going to be a great time with a lot of optimism, but also acceptance. Maybe accept of what shouldn't be there. If I look towards myself, right, and hearing what you say.
So yeah, when we talk about astrology, it's interesting because everyone has a free will to change or not to change, to grow or not to grow, and so on. And this is why oftentimes, you know, it's impossible to say one thing which will be applicable to everybody. Because we have the free will. We can, you know, go for it or not. And some people will choose to have this crossroads, as you're mentioning, and some people won't because they're not interested. So that we need to take into account. But overall, I believe this will be a very uplifting season, very dynamic season. Of course, already looking forward for some, you know, Christmas celebrations and how it can be different in this year compared with the previous year.
Yes, definitely. It's going to be hopefully definitely a bit more joyous. And yeah, so if people feel like they need a bit more guidance or they want to know a bit more, they can always contact you. I will, as always, put your information in the description. You do readings and you teach as well. So people can learn all about those things with you. And I definitely recommend it, as I keep saying, every month, because I have one of the hair readings and it was mind-blowing, but it was very good, very good. Everybody should do
Thank you
well.
so much. Thank you so much. Yes, I would be happy to hear from you anytime.
Anytime. We will have one more before the end of this year, before we dive into 2022. This will be Capricorn. And that will be next month with Jeff. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thank you too. Speak to you soon. Bye.